This is a piece of sperm whale skin with a bunch of sucker scars on it. Scientists have been uncovering sperm whales with these marks, and they think only a giant squid could leave these sorts of marks. Release the Kraken! So does this mean that deep beneath the surface of our oceans, there are giant Kraken-like squids just waiting for someone to summon them to the surface where they'll wreak havoc on our cities? Well, this is not Clash of the Titans, so no. The real-life Krakens aren't nearly big enough to destroy a city nor take down a ship. But we can't say the same about individual surfers. This is what we mean. Giant squids have been sighted in multiple locations around the world, and their maximum length has been measured at 43 feet. They weigh an average of 600 pounds, and the battle scars on giant whales are actually real. That's right, even David Attenborough has stated that at a depth of about 3,000 feet, these giant squids would wrap themselves around a sperm whale, and with the help of the small teeth on each suction cup, they'd latch onto the skin of the whale. But unlike what many movies would lead you to believe, this supposedly mythical squid doesn't have any muscles and therefore is unable to constrict its prey and crush them to death. It can release an ink cloud and then use this diversion to escape the heat of battle. So much for destroying big cities with a single swoop of the tentacle. Next up, we have the chupacabra. We've all heard of the chupacabra. The myth about this vampire-like creature originated in the Americas, in Spanish-speaking countries. In 1995, there were reported sightings of the chupacabra in Puerto Rico. There, locals found some dead goats and livestock with their blood either drained or drank by something. In fact, if we break it down, that's what chupacabra means. Chupar is Spanish for to suck, and cabras means goat. So the chupacabra is the animal that sucks the blood of goats. However, many scientists have theorized that these are just dogs or coyotes infected with mange. They have little to no fur, and they have thickened skin and rank odor. So far, everything checks out. But the locals deny the claims of the scientists. They argue that coyotes kill wild animals and not goat herds. Plus, a coyote will never kill an animal and leave it behind. However, this is exactly what science proves. If a coyote is suffering from a bad case of mange, they're too weak to hunt rabbits or deer, and the weakened coyote would track down and kill a goat. If the coyote is severely injured or has difficulty killing the animal, they'll leave their prey in the sun with two big holes corresponding to the animal's canine teeth. Followed by werewolves. While there are no animals that behave like the werewolves, humans can, and in fact, they used to back in the day. It all started in 19th century France. The most popular story about a werewolf dates back to 1855, when the Brooklyn Daily Eagle reported a gruesome murder in the French countryside. One young man wanted to marry a girl from a prominent family, but the family refused at first. However, as time went on, the family agreed and smashed that like button, just like you should if you haven't done so already. But no, in all seriousness, they gave their daughter's hand in marriage. After the wedding, the bride and groom returned to their quarters to consummate the marriage, but then eerie shrieks were heard coming from the newlyweds' bedroom. Concerned, the family burst through the door and found the girl lying on the bed with her chest ripped open, blood was everywhere, and her husband had eaten the girl's breast. While it might sound strange, it was later revealed that the man was bitten by a rabid dog and went completely mad. In fact, rabies caused many locals to lose their minds and become bloodthirsty animals, which is exactly where the myth originated. The hair and fangs came later, thanks to Hollywood. And now comes the vampire deer. From werewolves to vampires, this Chinese water deer, also known as a vampire deer, is closer to the musk deer than a true deer. Their famous downward-pointing tusks have earned these animals near mythical status in China and Korea. Despite their small size and lack of antlers, people still fear them and have been hunting them extensively. Currently, they are considered a vulnerable species, but hunting Chinese water deer is still not restricted. Don't forget about Stymphalian birds. Remember the labors of Hercules? Well, in one of them, Hercules had to kill the Stymphalian birds. They were giant man-eating birds that used to throw dung at people. Similar versions of the story were found among the Maori tribes in New Zealand, which told of a giant bird that swooped down to take small children. Well, they were real and existed until as recently as the 15th century. Known as Haas eagle, these birds were 6 feet tall and had a wingspan of 8 feet. Their hunting method involved swooping down at 60 miles per hour and grabbing their prey with their talons. And then we have the bunyip. When it comes to mythical creatures, the Aboriginal mythology of Australia tells about the bunyip. They've been described as amphibious creatures that lurk in swamps, lakes, rivers, lagoons, and other bodies of water. Most of the people who've seen a bunyip describe it as a swimming dog. Well, scientists have looked through history, and the animal that most closely resembles the bunyip is the diprotodon. It's a marsupial mammal that lived between 2.6 million and 11,700 years ago in Australia. And despite the horrifying stories, the diprotodon was a herbivore. What about Moby Dick? Captain Ahab had an obsession with Moby Dick, the whale that attacked and destroyed the captain's harpoon boat. Another captain named George Pollard Jr. was given command of the Essex in 1820, a ship that was sunk by a whale. Later, he told of how a white 85-foot whale directly attacked and destroyed the ship. The men fled and lived to tell the tale. However, thanks to science, we know that it was an albino sperm whale that attacked the Essex. Next come the Hobbits. From one fictional creation to the next. This one comes straight from Tolkien's famous novel, but in reality, hobbits actually lived here on Earth. In 2003, a group of archaeologists working in Liang Bua on the island of Flores, Indonesia, found the remains of the archaic human. They lived in Indonesia until the arrival of modern humans 50,000 years ago. They were about 3 feet 7 inches tall. But we don't know if they had big hairy feet like Tolkien's hobbits. We also have emoji. Stemming from Korean folklore, the emoji are dragons that don't look like the dragons found in China. The emoji is a thin and long reptile with 4 legs. However, unlike the dragons in Chinese and European folklore, the emoji cannot fly and are considered benevolent creatures. The locals thought of them as related to water and agriculture. To make things a little easier, think Dragon Ball Z. Now, if we look throughout history and we look for these emoji, we'd find them. Millions of years ago, there was a snake that could reach lengths of 42 feet and weighed around 2,500 pounds. We're not saying that the emoji was based on the Titanoboa. Only small bone fragments remain of the animal in South America, so there was no way for Koreans to know what a Titanoboa looked like. However, they did exist, and their relationship to the emoji is coincidental. But to us, the closest a person could come to these giant dragons is by going 58 million years back in time. Of course, there's the dragons. Take a look at this photo of Archangel Michael fighting the dragon. In most depictions, this is not a dragon the size of a skyscraper, it's a small dragon, roughly the size of a modern-day Komodo dragon. And we think that these old mythical dragons that we've seen in The Hobbit and Game of Thrones are just exaggerated versions of the normal dragons, the ones that actually roam the earth. Komodo dragons can reach a maximum length of about 10 feet and weigh an average of 150 pounds. They're an apex predator and they hunt everything from invertebrates to birds and even other mammals. Interestingly enough, when the Komodo dragon bites their prey, they inject it with venom. But if we go back in time, we'll find the Dracoryx hogsworthia. It's a newly discovered dinosaur and can be found in Asia and North America between 95 and 65 million years ago. They're flat-headed dinosaurs with spikes on their head in various configurations. The Dracoryx hogsworthia were mainly herbivores and were small animals measuring roughly 9 feet. It's possible that all of the myths and legends about dragons were invented because of these guys. YouTube thinks you should watch this video next.